I may have gotten myself into a little bit of trouble.
Hey, baby, what are you doing?
Oh, I'll be right out. I'm just gonna work on a movie review real quick.
Can I help you?
No, it's fine. Why don't you take a shower and get those brains out of your hair?
Okay, well, don't be long.
Yeah, no, I'll give you a massage afterwards.
I love you forever.
Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the brand new feature film release. And it is called...
Come on, baby, let me in.
I said take a
Come on.
shower.
Oh, all right, fine.
Okay. It's called Obsession. The movie is called Obsession. Desperate to win the heart of the girl he likes, Bear snaps a willow wish stick, wishing for her devout love. His wish is granted, but the consequences are more than he can handle.
Rated R.
Obsession seems to be taking the film world by storm. Its $750,000 budget has blossomed into over $27 million in sales in its first week. That's insane, and that's definitely the power of social media and marketing. I think today's audiences are looking for experiences off the beaten path. Things like non-franchise films, or films made by lesser-known artists. Like Obsession, written and directed by a YouTube content creator, Curry Barker. Much like the creators of Shelby Oaks and Bring Her Back, I had no idea who Curry was before seeing this film. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for getting new blood into the film industry. It must be the best feeling in the world to make that jump from YouTube to theatrical releases. But it does seem like Obsession is getting a little bit more hype than it actually deserves. Obsession opens with Bear, and yes, that is his name. And he's practicing how he's going to tell one of his friends that he likes her. Bear is played by Michael Johnston. He kind of has this naive personality in the first 15 minutes of the film, but it quickly evaporates after that. Johnston did a great job of showing his horror expressions, but it was his nonchalant demeanor that I found a lot more chilling. And I don't know if it's because of good acting or if he just didn't know how to react. In this scene, he is talking to Ian, played by Cooper Tomlinson. Ian is just a plain dude without any depth. He's basically there to bounce ideas off of. The third member of the friend group is Sarah, played by Megan Lawless. She seems sweet and kind and struggling to get into college. She was likable, but again, she was just kind of there to get used. Andy Richter also makes an appearance as the owner of the music store where all the kids work. But the star of the film for me is the object of Bear's obsession, Nikki, played by Indy Navarrete. Her performance here should catapult her into stardom. I was honestly just enthralled by her. She had this uncanny ability to just flip through personalities quickly and thoroughly. It was like a different person every time. She would be cute and lovely, then violently scary, and then completely confused. Plus, she could contort her face and do some strange body movements to up the ante. It's the kind of performance that should come up during awards season, but we know it probably won't. Bear decides that he's going to confess his feelings for Nikki after the foursome had a night out at the bar. And this is my first issue with the film, his love, because it's not there. In that opening practice scene, I thought, oh, okay, he's kind of like a weird, awkward guy, but he does seem to like her. But at the bar, there isn't any chemistry between them. In fact, they hardly even talk to each other. He doesn't even seem all that interested. Even when asked directly if he has feelings for her, he denies it. But before you jump down my throat, I know that all of this was on purpose. We actually see him be pretty self-centered throughout the entire film. He's more interested in the idea of her, the prestige or status that comes from dating her, like a prize. And that's where the obsession comes in. Bear buys a novelty toy that allegedly grants you a single wish, called the One Wish Willow Stick. Break the stick and make a wish. Bear wishes that Nikki loves him more than any other person in the world. Now, this isn't a new plot device. The whole monkey paw, be careful what you wish for horror trope has been done hundreds of times. From the Twilight Zone to The Simpsons to even Aladdin. But it's what you do with the trope that really matters. Obviously, Nikki becomes obsessed with Bear and chaos ensues. The story hits all the usual and expected beats, the overly sweet actions, the jealous rage fits, and the creepy connotations. This was done very well, but it was fairly predictable. But this isn't some psycho girlfriend horror movie, because Nikki is not a girlfriend. She is a victim. She is a slave. The magic of the wish trapped her in her own mind, while someone or something else control her physical body. She is still mentally present to everything that is happening to her, unable to resist. And yes, that does include romantic interactions. This is the real horror of the film. All of this is non-consensual. The movie does drop hints about this to the audience as the film progresses. These moments of clarity are performed fantastically by Indy Navarrete. And Bear begins to realize the truth the same time as the audience, but he doesn't stop. He continues this faux relationship despite the violent outbursts. The result is a series of very uncomfortable situations that had me squirming in my chair. And that is the crux of Obsession. In fact, it's a pretty woke movie. Bear is basically the personification of the fake male loneliness epidemic. It's a kind of self-imposed pity party, where the man is too scared to talk to women out of fear of rejection. Or if he does get rejected, then he hates her. They feel entitled to women and their bodies. And any resistance from the women is a direct attack on their manhood. In fact, his name being Bear is probably a callback to the internet meme of women choosing to be stuck in a forest with a bear rather than a man. Because a bear is predictable. It'll either eat you or leave you alone. But a man may try to force you into a plethora of other things against your will. This is all super evident throughout the movie. Bear never actually tries to reverse the actions that he has taken. Even in the finale, Bear only acts on his own accord. There were a lot of situations throughout the film that felt a bit repetitive or out of place. Like Curry Barker just had a whole bunch of ideas and just filmed everything. And perhaps that's on purpose to show the audience how crazy things are consistently. But honestly, this slowed down the pace for me. The middle of the movie dragged a bit because of it. There wasn't any progress being made. Bear wasn't making any progress with his relationship, Nikki wasn't making any progress with her struggles, and Ian and Sarah were just there. This time could have been better used exploring what was actually happening to Nikki. We know that she's trapped, but how? And by whom? Is it an entity? Is it a demon? Who made these willow wish sticks? And are they always evil? These are the kind of things you never get an answer for throughout the movie. There was one scene in particular that absolutely bugged me because it required the audience to suspend all belief from there on. Bear takes Nikki to the hospital because of some injuries that she sustained, and they turn them away. What? We see a nurse waving her arms around, telling them to go home, and Bear is sitting there arguing back and forth with her. There isn't any sound in this scene either. To me, this is a narrative cop-out. Obviously, bringing Nikki to the hospital would raise a lot of questions from the medical staff and possibly the authorities. Rather than deal with that creative situation, Barker just had them rejected, which would never happen. And this is a waste, because it could have really upped the tension. Having Bear explain to the medical staff about her injuries while she's sitting there all euphoric about how much she loves him would have been a great scene. It would also force him to feel some fear over the possible consequences of his actions. Then, of course, for the horror aspect, you could have Nikki get some stitches or something and then have her pick them out later. Visually, Obsession is as dark as the subject matter, and it's often too dark. There is some great spooky shadow play throughout. One scene has Nikki on Bear's front porch, completely draped in shadow with just the glint of her eyes showing through. She's speaking super animated, but her head and her body are completely frozen. She's like, "Hey baby, can I come in? I'm so sorry that we got into that fight. Wouldn't it be nice if we just cuddled all night and made up?" This contrast was very eerie. Nikki is often shown lurking in the shadows, almost completely invisible. She would also have these weird contortionist body movements. Again, very well done. But there were times where an entire scene was almost completely pitch black, for no narrative reason. It was like there was only one light bulb on in every room. The spookiness of the film was done pretty well. The gore and visual effects were perfectly fine. However, Obsession relies on jump scares and really loud noises way too much. It's always the draining silence. And then bam! Loud noises and musical cues. Now, I don't personally mind jump scares. I think they help the audience connect better to the characters. But I think they need to have context and reason. Too many jump scares would happen for no other reason other than to scare the audience. I know that sounds silly, but there was a scene where Bear's phone chimed. The chime was so loud that it rattled the speakers in my theater. But Bear in the movie wasn't scared. He just picked up his phone and looked at his notifications. So that obnoxiously loud chime was only done to scare the audience and had no bearing on the horror within the movie, which feels cheap. And these loud noises sometimes drowned out the dialogue of the characters. Multiple times, the music would just swell right over the cast, swallowing any important details. The music itself was fine, very horror-oriented, but nothing is as bad as the sound of the horror trope of characters being so scared that they can't speak in sentences. Way too often, we were stuck with Bear just sputtering his words out to Ian. I understand him being scared and having a hard time getting his words out, but this trope was way overplayed. It would just be, oh my god, guys, you don't understand, and this thing over here, and this other, and I know, over there. It feels like another creative cop-out because it ensures that Bear will never get any help that he's seeking. It also limited the story because nothing would happen with Ian because he doesn't know what's going on. The tension would completely melt away, watching Bear sound like a car that just can't start. I have been seeing a lot of people talk about the humor in this film, and I'm not quite seeing it. Now, I only had one other person in my theater, and we weren't sitting close enough for me to even hear if they were laughing. I don't really find the whole metaphor for sexual assault and violence against women to be that funny. I guess some of the lines that Nikki says during the horror parts could be found to be a bit humorous. Maybe when she says, "Hey baby, where are you going?" after she does something violent. But I think I was just consumed by the horrifying situation that she was in. There was a scene where another character actually uses one of the wish sticks. They wished for something and then it magically started to pour down on them from the roof. This is the only part of the movie that I found that could be kind of humorous. But honestly, the scene felt completely out of place and poorly made. The items that were falling didn't even look like the real items. You'll understand what I mean when you see the movie. And again, this just kind of emphasizes the lack of lore for the wish sticks. In the end, Obsession is a very heavy and dark film that uses horror to show the real-life trauma of manipulation and sexual assault. It can be a hard watch. A standout performance by Indy Navarrete elevates the whole thing. But the overly dark visuals, cheap jump scares, and clunky pacing hold it back. And that is why I'm giving the brand new movie Obsession the Broken Promise score of 7 out of 10. There's a powerful message under these horror tropes that I think warrant a viewing. I do think that this film deserves a lot of praise, just maybe not all the 10 out of 10 scores. Though some of you internet incels may be a little offended. Well, that's if you even understand the movie. And judging by some of the comments I see, you don't. But what about the rest of you? Have you checked out the new release Obsession by writer-director Curry Barker? I wish for you to tell me all about it in the comments down below. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more spookily honest content just like this. And now let me take care of this obsession. Hey, Grembro.
What?
The channel is all yours.
Finally? Out of here, soy boy. Alright, so this movie is like super woke. Like it's such a crime for a guy to like a girl. What is that noise?
There you are, my lovely.
No thank you.
Yeah.